You make 85 grand a year and somehow you still feel broke, but your friend makes 52 and they've got 6 months of expenses saved and they're already booking trips like it's nothing. And that messes with your head because you're thinking, how is this possible? I make more. I should be ahead. Here's the part nobody says out loud. You're trying to play offense and defense at the same time, and you're losing at both. You're working overtime to earn more while also obsessing over tiny savings. You're meal prepping every week, but still paying for subscriptions you forgot existed. You're stressed because you're too broke to relax, but also too busy trying to earn more to actually fix where the money goes. What I'm about to show you flips the whole way you think about money. Because the people who actually build wealth don't try to do everything at once. They pick a phase, commit fully, and only switch when the timing makes sense. Let me borrow a concept from fitness that explains this perfectly. Bulking and cutting. In the gym, bulking means you eat in a surplus to build muscle. You're not trying to look perfect. You're focused on growth. Then after you build the foundation, you switch to cutting. You tighten the plan, trim the excess, and reveal what you built. If you try to bulk and cut at the same time, you spin your wheels for years and never change. Money works the same way. There's a season where your job is to increase income aggressively, and there's a season where your job is to keep and invest more of what you earn. Most people fail because they mix the two and dilute their focus. Phase 1, financial bulking. This usually hits in your 20s and early 30s, but it's not really about age. It's about leverage. If your income is still far from where it could be, your highest return move isn't saving $3 on detergent. It's increasing your market value. Financial bulking means you treat yourself like a business in growth mode. You invest in skills that get you paid more. You take projects that give you leverage. You build proof, portfolio, certifications, numbers, results. You negotiate. You switch roles or companies when it makes sense because the biggest salary jumps often come from moving, not waiting. During this phase, your savings rate might look bad to people who don't understand the strategy. Maybe you're only saving 5 or 10% because you're reinvesting into yourself. You pay for the course that costs $500 because it leads to a $15,000 raise. You upgrade your work setup because you're building skills faster. You live closer to opportunity even if rent is higher because 2 hours of commuting time is 2 hours you could be learning. On paper, that can look irresponsible. In reality, it can be the smartest thing you ever do because if you increase your income, from 45 to 85 over a few years, you didn't just make more once. You built a higher baseline that pays you every year for the rest of your career, and no amount of coupon clipping comes close to that. Here's the math. Let's say you spend an extra $3,000 a year on things that genuinely increase your earning power: training, tools, networking, positioning. If that helps you earn just $10,000 more per year, that's a huge return. And unlike a stock that can go up and down, your income baseline compounds because every future raise starts from a higher number. But here's the trap. Some people bulk forever. They chase bigger paychecks and their lifestyle grows at the same speed. Bigger apartment, fancier car, more little upgrades, and they're still paycheck to paycheck, just at a higher altitude. That's when you need phase 2. Phase 2. Financial cutting. Cutting begins when income growth has diminishing returns for you. Maybe you've hit a ceiling in your role. Maybe the next jump takes years. Maybe you're comfortable and you don't want to grind harder. Whatever the reason, now your biggest win isn't earning more. It's keeping more. This is when you flip from offense to defense. You audit subscriptions, you renegotiate bills, you optimize taxes, you refinance expensive debt, you simplify recurring expenses. You stop leaking money through small decisions that add up to big monthly drain. And this phase is powerful because it doesn't require talent. Cutting doesn't care if you're smart. It doesn't care if you have connections. It doesn't care where you went to school. It just requires honesty. Do I actually value this? Or am I paying for it because I'm used to it? This is where your savings rate can explode. You go from saving 10% to saving 30 or 40 without making one extra dollar because you stopped bleeding money on things that don't move your life forward. And here's why most advice fails. A lot of personal finance content treats everyone like they should be in permanent cutting mode. Skip coffee, cancel Netflix, use coupons. That might help someone making 120 grand with already maxed income potential. But for someone making 40 grand, it can be the wrong focus because the opportunity cost is massive. Spending 2 hours saving $10 is pointless if those 2 hours could build a skill that increases your lifetime earnings by $200,000. So, how do you know which phase you're in? Ask one question. If I spent the next 12 months focused on income growth, could I realistically add 15,000 or more to my annual income? If the answer is yes, you should be bulking. Your energy belongs to skills, leverage, negotiation, and career moves. If the answer is no, you should be cutting. Your energy belongs to optimization, systems, and investing what you keep. Because winners sequence this, they don't blend it. They bulk hard when bulking makes sense. Then they cut hard when cutting makes sense. Let me show you how this looks with real numbers. Example, bulking versus penny, pinching. You're 26 making 52,000. You can spend the year trying to cut your grocery bill from 400 to 320. That saves you about $960 in a year. Or you can spend that year learning a high value skill, building a portfolio and landing a role at 68,000. That's 16,000 more per year. And even after taxes, it's still a massive difference. That's not a small win. That's an entire life trajectory shift. Example, when cutting becomes high ROI. Now you're 34 making 110,000. Your next big promotion might take years. Income growth is slower now, but finding 15,000 a year in your budget could be very realistic if you optimize insurance, subscriptions, car costs, housing choices, taxes. That's why cutting can pay per hour more than most side hustles at this stage. You can't bulk forever. You hit ceilings, market ceilings, industry ceilings, energy ceilings, and you can't cut forever either. Eventually, you've optimized everything and you're stressing over $10 decisions. The magic is the switch, and the switch always feels uncomfortable. If you've spent years in bulking mode, cutting can feel like you're settling, like you're giving up. But it's not retreat, it's strategy. So here's your simple action plan. If you're under 32 and not yet at a strong income level, stop obsessing over tiny expenses. Don't build your whole identity around being frugal. Build skills, build leverage, build income. If you're already earning well and your next income jump is slow, shift into cutting mode. Audit everything recurring. Simplify. Invest what you keep. And if you're in the middle, choose based on leverage, not age. Because wealth isn't built by doing everything halfway. It's built in phases. Pick your phase, commit fully, and stop trying to play both games badly. That's the whole game.